The spotlight hits the makeup on your face. The pain, it's meant to hide the empty space. You spin a yarn for every soul inside, while shadows crawl beneath your velvet light. The camera lens is blind to what you saw, but roots run deep where bitter gardens grow. A fable crafted from a hollow vein. You trade your secrets for a drug.
Okay, looks I don't know if that's still going or not, but fuck. Anyways, let's go ahead and watch this video by Sam at Every Size. Please go subscribe. She's amazing and I love her. So she made a great video today about the shocking details about Stefan and the Paradise House, right? Okay, let's go. Yes, Jenny Lynn, we're back. Hopefully everything goes okay. Thank you for being here, honey. I love it. I love it. I really appreciate you. I really do. I'm not as good as Nikki T, but I'm trying my best. You know what I'm saying? My internet is terrible. I don't know why. I pay out the ass for internet. I don't understand this. Pissing me off shit. You know what I'm saying? But let's get to, shall we? Mr. Zachary Michael. All right, let's get to.
It's not clear. Like, the math isn't mathing. You cannot make these things up. This is the evidence that he is posting on his. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sam and I make videos dissecting internet nonsense. And while today won't be totally different because we are going to be dissecting some things that have happened recently on the internet, I don't really enjoy calling this nonsense because these are very serious allegations that we're going to be talking about today. So the video is going to be more serious in tone as we once again talk about Stefan Wilhelmy and the Paradise House. Before I go any further, I am going to put a disclaimer in this video, and this is very specifically for Stefan and people who live at the Paradise House and or support the Paradise House. I'm going to be using a lot of protective language in this video because I know by now that they love to report videos and at worst sue people to try to silence them. Everything I'll be talking about from here on out in this video is my subjective opinion based upon publicly available information that is subject to fair use. This video will contain discussions of SA allegations, manipulation, surveillance, and ultimately abuse. I am not condoning or promoting any of these behaviors. In fact, I'm doing quite the opposite and explaining why people might avoid the Paradise House.
Right.
I'll also note that this is my content warning for you all watching this video. If you cannot handle serious topics like those mentioned earlier, please go ahead and click out now and watch something else on the channel, and we will catch you in the next video. Much like the last time I came to you all to talk about the Paradise House, I've really struggled with where to start with this whole story because Shay was the immediate draw for me. When she passed away a few weeks ago, I knew that I wanted to talk about it. That's always been a thing that I've done on my channel because when young plus size influencers pass away, nobody talks about it. It tends to get swept under the rug.
Yeah.
And I did not want that to happen to her story, even if she was connected to Pearadise. But as I started looking into her to capture her story, the ID channel dropped a trailer for a new documentary on the Pearadise house called Big Girls Wanted. Documentary trailer dropped that now
Come on. No, don't. Okay. Sorry, guys.
along with this so-called safe prepared me for the literal get platform after platform after platform to tell his story, who have dealt with this man and come out with very serious allegations, go through the ringer, and feel like they have to get on panels with him to have civil
I'm off camera right now because I'm eating.
Conversations.
Hey,
I hated every single second of it. But there's one thing I have known as truth since the very first time I looked into Stefan over a year ago. And that is the more you let him talk, the more he hangs himself out.
Exactly.
Today, I want to give you all a little bit of background on Stefan and the very serious allegations against him, because I haven't been seeing a lot of coverage on that. And I think that it's important for us to be reminded of what those allegations actually are.
Exactly.
I'm also going to talk through his absolutely bonkers evidence that is pretty easy to debunk if you have eyes and half a brain cell. And then I want to cover the recent nonsense that's been taking place on the internet with people platforming this man and giving him the opportunity to talk. Because there are a lot of highlights that we need to pull out and talk about together before this documentary drops. I definitely think it's deserved context going in to the documentary that's about to come out on June 10th. So without further ado,
tomorrow's my birthday, by the way. Terrible birthday present, Rosie.
With everything that's taken place recently, I do think it's important to reestablish who Stefan Wilhelmy is as a person and what the Pearadise house is. The most literal explanation for Stefan is that he is a German man who lives in a mansion in Las Vegas, and he is a software developer or engineer of some type who's invented some technology specifically for car key fobs.
Mind you, this is not doxing. This is public information. You can go and look it up yourself. So, going over this, if it's been publicly shared already, is not a problem.
He is also the founder of Pearadise, a supposed plus-size safe haven that he runs out of his home in Las Vegas. Stefan has been on the internet for decades now. He's an older man in either his late 40s, potentially early 50s at this point. But he launched Pearadise in 2020 on TikTok. To go along with his TikTok, he also launched a Facebook page and a Discord server. He uses his public-facing social
which Rosie was messaging him in his Discord server in 2020
media accounts to market his home as a safe space for plus-size women, giving himself the persona of an ally who understands the plight of plus-sized women. Women who have been bullied, women who have been excluded, women who have been made to feel less than their entire lives. I found Stefan and his Pearadise community a little over a year ago,
preying on their vulnerability.
When I was investigating the passing of another young plus-size creator. She passed away at 29 years old from complications related to her weight. Her name was Cass. She was Stefan's girlfriend, and she was known, much like Shay, as one of his most staunch defenders. It was her story that unveiled to me who Stefan really is, not an ally to plus-size women, but rather a controlling and manipulative man. A man who uses his wealth and power to lure vulnerable young women to his house. Those young women are then used to recruit other vulnerable young women. Once they're in his house, he can prey upon them, surveilling them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, ultimately setting up a dynamic where he can intimidate them to remain quiet, or else he threatens their entire world. Their access to their friends, their access to their community, where they finally felt like they fit in. It's truly disturbing what's going on here, and we have only just scratched the surface. As we talk about the allegations, it's most important for you to know up front that multiple women have now come out publicly against Stefan and the Pearadise House to share their stories, and their allegations are very serious in nature. One woman has shared that he touched her backside without consent. Hey everyone, Editing Sam here. I just wanted to flag that as I was going through and editing this, I actually realized that in a live stream that we're going to get into more depth about when we get to the later parts of this video and all of the things that have happened recently, this man actually admitted once again that these allegations about touching someone's backside without their consent were 100% true. Please just listen to this.
Actually, the way it is, this one girl, Savvy, there was an incident. We were all slapping each other's butts, we were all goofing around. And at some point, she turned to me only and said, "Hey, Stefan, would you please not do this anymore?" And I said, "Oh my God, absolutely. I'm so sorry. I had no idea."
Yeah.
I swear to God, you cannot make this stuff up. I just randomly found this going through this footage, and he once again is just tying his own knots, isn't he? We're going to get into more depth later in this video. Please stay tuned, but let's get back to it for now. Others have talked about being touched in other places without their consent. And worst of all, there are multiple very serious, the most serious allegations out there where women were saying they were drunk and could not consent. Please put 2 and 2 together since I can't say the words because of YouTube and their crazy policies. They're pretty serious allegations. Stefan's immediate response to the allegations was to sue all of the women talking about him publicly in order to silence them. He claimed that so much proof that they were lying that he immediately. What ended up happening instead is, despite him claiming he had all of this proof, it got to a judge, and within the first phase, the judge threw his case out because he couldn't meet the burden of proof. And when you now go to his website, where he's decided it's a brilliant idea to post his so-called evidence, you can see exactly why a judge would have thrown this out. Exhibit A relates to some of the most serious allegations against him coming from a creator and woman who goes by Porky. Stefan says that he couldn't have essayed Porky because she had sent him flirty text messages before their interaction. The problem is that in his so-called proof is a text message between himself and someone else who's mentioning Porky. Porky is the woman who made the allegations, not whoever this is in the text messages. The person who is messaging him also mentions that all of the women, including Porky, are currently drunk. So not only was Porky not directly flirting with him in these text messages that he's using as proof, it also kind of showcases that he was willing to entertain these ideas even when they told him point blank that they were drunk. Then, in that same message set of evidence, Stefan shows you his smoking gun against Porky, and that's the fact that she sent him a text message asking if she could come to his room to cuddle. The problem here is that when you continue to read through these messages, which were the same day or the very next day, like the next morning, when they continued to text, you can clearly see that Stefan is asking her if she's hungover from last night when she texted asking to cuddle. In that exchange, Porky even responds and says, "I wasn't even as wasted as I can get." You cannot make these things up. This is the evidence that he is posting on his own website to exonerate himself. His evidence is not evidence. Quite the opposite. In fact, he's giving us evidence against his own case. And here's the thing. He's going to go on and deny that he touches women without their consent. But he has also sent text messages that have been leaked saying he knows that he is too touchy-feely sometimes, and he's even admitted that he only stops once he's made aware that it's bothering someone. He has even shared multiple times on multiple platforms that there was a third person around, another woman, and it was that person who was getting consent from Porky for him.
Like the thing with Porky, like I have somebody that sat with me next to me in the hot tub, and Porky was coming on to me. Porky was starting to flirt with me and saying like, "Do you want to do blah 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 blah?" And my friend was like, "Porky, you had alcohol like 5 hours ago, whatever." Like it was a long time before. It's because she was drunk in the afternoon, but in the evening she was fine. She was not drunk. In the court document, she's claiming she was drunk. She was sober as fuck because both of us made 3 times. We made sure that she is okay. We said like, "Hey, are you okay? Can you make decisions? How are you feeling? When was the last time you had a drink? What do you want to do? Are you sure about that?" And then my friend said, "Ask for it." What do you want Stefan to do? Ask for it. Say it. Say it in words. So she made her say out loud, take my swim trunks off, or my bottoms, you know? And she made her say, "You can touch me. You can do this, and that."
So even in this situation, Stefan has not gotten consent. Consent has gone to a third party. That isn't how it works. And it's very similar to his bullshit evidence, which is a lot of third-party fluff and he said, she said. It's insane when you actually look through these things with a fine-tooth comb, the things that he thinks are defending him. This is just proof of how horrible this person is. And it's just going to keep getting worse. In his so-called evidence pile, he's going to also post videos of women to show you that they didn't act like victims of SA should act. And his many supporters, nearly all women, mind you, have also been commenting on these posts, saying things like they agree And this isn't how victims of SA should act. One of the other very serious allegations about consent comes from the mother of Stefan's children. Her name is Cece. Cece has also shared that she was under the influence and therefore could not give consent. And in Stefan's so-called evidence that didn't happen, what you see is that he is acknowledging in a set of text messages that Cece seemed, quote, out of it last night. And she responds that she had been in a daze. So, even more proof, in my opinion, that he doesn't care about consent, and he clearly does not care about these women as either friends or partners. Because what do you mean? You admitted in a text message that you knew something was off and you didn't stop. It's disturbing, truly disturbing, and not enough time is being spent on that. Because what he would rather have people focus on is the fact that Cece was a little bit over the top. And in that text message thread, she was messaging him a lot, very frequently, very over the top. It was giving adult temper tantrum. And again, he's using that to say, see, she didn't act the way that an SA victim would act. If she had truly been SA'd, she wouldn't have asked to host her sister's baby shower at my house. She wouldn't have asked me to pick her up and give her rides. I just want to take a moment to remind you that in Stefan's world, these women, when they're coming to him, are often coming from pretty toxic situations, and they are very young. Like, he's twice their age in most instances, okay? Keep that in your brain. Because Cece was young, she has come to the internet to apologize for her behavior and explain where her mental health was when she was in that space. Not that she's in the hot seat here, but a lot of these women get into this situation with him where they're coming from toxic boyfriends, abusive situations, homelessness. Stefan often pulls women who are coming from places where he can take advantage of them. It doesn't mean what Cece said was right. It doesn't mean that her text messages weren't over the top. It doesn't mean that both of them weren't toxic. but it also doesn't invalidate her allegations. The final thing I just want to drive home one more time is about the way that this community is run online. Because all of this proof, as you've seen, is either messages that have been archived, surveillance footage from his cameras, and the thing for me is that he's pulling these things as a way to say, well, they flirted with me. So clearly they gave me consent. That's where his proof is coming from. And what's even more disturbing is that he uses this proof with newer women who are coming in his house, and he's making them go through this and watch surveillance footage to prove that he is innocent. And I hate to do this because Shay has passed away at this point now, but she was a staunch defender when she came into his house. And when it came to Cece and Cece's allegations, Stefan used Shay to say that it looked like the situation was consensual.
After watching the full video from start to finish, I can confirm that this was a consensual interaction between two adults.
He needs these young women to come in and believe him to sell the story that he is innocent. Stefan first came on my radar, as I mentioned, when I was talking about Cass and her passing at 29 years old. He stayed on my radar because another young influencer who caught my attention, Ziamara the Dreamer, was also connected to Stefan and living at his house when she was admitted to the hospital for complications related to pneumonia and fluid in her lungs. She had to be intubated multiple times, which she has openly talked about on her platform. And in the course of all of that and being in a coma, she's lost the use of one of her arms and one of her legs. Like, it's a pretty dire situation. Now, Zio still very much supports this community, and that truly makes me sad. But she's a young person. She just turned 30, I believe, while she was in rehab. Let that sit with you for a minute. But it's a pretty important story, and I have been covering her now for a while, and Stefan keeps popping up. He and the girls from the house visit Zio at the rehab, and they take her food.
The rest of the year is really, really, really hard for me. But no, for real, this month, I just know that God was like, you're going through it. You're going to go through it. So let me send in some people. So they're out the way. I'll let you know when they're here. Probably going to do a mukbang. Hello. Bye. Guys, look at this guy here.
Yelling in the chat.
All right, we're going to go eat food now. Yeah. Guys, look who's freaking I woke up in a room. Stop. We're gonna go eat now. Okay, guys, we just got they brought the pizza. We got whoa, this is a Michi in Arizona. It's very viral. Say hi. Hi. We got a bunch of other stuff, but I'm gonna make a separate video. Bomb.
He came back on my radar recently when I saw news of the passing of Shay, who I mentioned at the beginning of this video. I was aware of Shay and that she had been in that house because of that footage with Cece. She was there a year ago when I talked about this, and that is how I found her defending the video, saying that she watched the entire thing. Shay was also very young and ultimately passed away from complications related to her weight and the flu. And Stefan, as I mentioned, has been on social media saying, we were best friends. She was my defender. I'm not responsible for any of this. I'm not tied to the feeder community, and I had nothing to do with Shay's weight gain that ultimately led to her passing. And again, the worst part of this whole story for me is that he returned to social media pretty immediately to tell people that they were best friends. He even posted that video of her that she secretly took, saying how grateful she was for their friendship.
Hi, Stefan. You are doing the dishes right now, which makes me kind of mad. So I'm probably gonna come do them and push you away out of the kitchen. And I just want to say that. Hold on, let me redo this. Wait, I'm not gonna redo it. I just want to say thanks for letting me stay at your house, and thanks for being like such a good friend and like being cool and super cute and having like the best time ever. And you're like my best friend. And we'll be best friends forever. And I think my life can hear me talking right now, which is kind of embarrassing. But I just wanted to say that you're an amazing person, and I will run people over with my car for you. Okay, bye. That was you dropping something.
When I watched that video that she recorded on his phone, I was reminded of my research that I did a year ago where I found an Instagram post from Stefan saying things like, if people are going to let you stay with them, get up and vacuum the floors, wash the dishes, clean the bathroom, buy dinner, do something. And also, I'm going to kick myself if I don't have the screen recorded somewhere still. But he also, or someone also said that he would get angry with the girls and the women if they weren't doing the cleaning. So with that context in mind, when you see that clip from Shay, it doesn't hit the same. It doesn't hit as someone who's just spontaneously making this video to say how thankful and grateful they are. Instead, it comes across as a young person with that tone of voice who's continuously looking up at him. She's trying to smooth a situation. She's trying to be reassuring, because if he were truly annoyed that he were doing dishes, that's what she would need to do to remain in his good graces. Again, with that context, it suddenly hits differently, doesn't it? And I couldn't stand that. I couldn't sit and just watch him post that video and say, see, we were best friends, without sharing Ziamara shared that she actually made her first feeder content at the Pearadise house. Later, when he was asked what mistakes he made in this situation, he said,
I didn't vet people enough to come before inviting them to the house.
And similarly, in a live stream of his own that's now been archived by Reddit, he also said,
somebody that will try to come up with all sorts of bullshit if she doesn't get what she wants. Those are the people that are the problem, that have been the problem in Pearadise. You know, inviting people here without fully knowing, she's a perpetual victim, exactly. Without knowing them was definitely a mistake.
He then tried to say the allegations were clearly false because in his house and at the Pearadise setup, they go over the top when getting consent.
And multiple times we had discussions about, like, you know, consent and, like, you know, and when I say consent, I mean group consent. When people wanted to go in the pool naked, stop everything right here. Everybody, is everybody down, or does anybody have a problem with it? And only when everybody was on the same page at 2 a.m. or whatever, when the lights turned off, some people, you know, turned the party a different way.
And because we've just looked at his own evidence, we know that that's not true. He does not ask for consent. When consent is rescinded or something feels off, he doesn't stop. And sometimes he thinks that a third party getting consent for him is acceptable. He's also admitted to interacting with women who are under the influence and therefore cannot give consent. If it were true that this was happening and they were so over the top about it, why would he also need to mention in a separate live stream that he has his own personal data retention policy?
Thank God for technology and my personal data retention policies.
And finally, he stated, even if he had touched someone in a way that made them feel uncomfortable, that it's just
I wasn't able to prove that she honestly really didn't think or didn't feel that what happened constituted, in the very loosest colloquial, like, Mickey Mouse sense, SA.
Yeah, Mickey Mouse essay. That's what he just said. Please just sit with that for a second, because this isn't only highly offensive, it reveals how he actually feels about this entire thing and everything that he's done. There is no such thing as a small essay or an essay that's not serious. There is no category of consent violation that is acceptable because others have experienced worse. Also, did you pick up on how casually he said it? As though the real issue isn't that a woman was uncomfortable or violated. For him, the real issue is that they're using terminology that he doesn't like.
I would never use SA for that term. Like, if these women would have gone on the internet and they said, I went to Pearadise and, like, we didn't really like it, and we all tapped each other's booties and that was it, but nothing else sexually happened, but we don't like him and we're not going to come back, it would have been no shock factor.
Another episode that was hosted by LOL Cow Bus brought on some of Stefan's supporters. And I gotta tell you, I thought I knew what to expect, and then I saw this young woman defending him.
When I get to your house, when I land at his house, I want to be in bed with you. That's what these women are saying. They get in the house. Stefan isn't giving that to them, right? Stefan is like, they weren't doing anything. He felt a little shy. He didn't know, because he's a little awkward when it comes to that stuff. He doesn't know, like, that's what I'm saying. This man is not even capable of doing these things.
And I nearly lost my mind. Not only was I angry, incredibly angry, that she clearly believes this rhetoric, but I was also extremely heartbroken. This is clearly a very young woman who's been dragged into this community that she thinks is a safe space, that she thinks is supporting her and not taking advantage of her. She truly believes that this is just an awkward, shy old man who doesn't understand consent, who doesn't know exactly what he's doing. Never mind the fact that he's made all his money being a software engineer. Clearly, he's just so shy and awkward, guys. Worse, she defended his behavior, saying the same things he does. They sent flirty texts before they arrived at the house. And so then he's just so awkward, he doesn't understand why they're not doing stuff once they get there. And again, all of this is just happening all at once. And it seems to be really lost on people that Stefan has been on this platform saying, I get consent. We go over the top to get consent. We do all of these things. And yet here, once again, is a young woman who's been in the house, who's been in contact with him recently, saying, oh, he's just too shy and awkward to know how to get consent. So are you getting consent or are you not getting consent? Because your messaging is not clear. Like, the math isn't mathing. She also admits that Stefan also showed her proof that these women were lying.
Down. I said, I need to see everything, because I was starting to think, like, what the hell happened? Because I met you. I knew you were not this creep. People warn you, like, don't. I met him randomly. He was an older guy, but I saw what I saw and I felt a vibe from him that he was not that person. So I was like, I need to know, like, are you this person? He showed me everything.
And all I could think about was the fact that this person is so young that they truly believe they're invulnerable. They truly believe that this will never happen to them, that she won't grow up and change her mind and be booted out of this community the same way these other women have experienced, that Stefan won't use her messages and her being in these live streams against her. It's truly disturbing. And then the other woman that they featured said something else that also truly stuck with me.
I enjoy going to the house because I go for the girls. I go for it to have my girls' time, like swimming, we go shopping, like we're just hanging out, having a good time. I've never had to watch my back. If anything, like, we're helping each other, we share clothes, we do fun stuff. It's a sisterhood.
And I want you to keep that in your brains because it's going to be important in a few minutes. Finally, they hosted a live stream featuring a woman who goes by Peachy on the internet. And Peachy was interesting to me because she brought up some points that I hadn't previously thought about when she talked about Zia Morrow going on social media and sharing that she felt duped.
And what I know slightly about that is that there's a lot of people who filmed or participated in that documentary or what they thought was a reality series, and thinking that this was a reality series that was just showing girls at the house having a great time. It was going to be what they thought was the what they thought was going to be like this really nice show of the plus size community and people who get along.
Mm-hmm.
And they did a lot of what they thought were fun events, and they didn't really have an inkling that there was more to it. And then, at the very end of the trailer, it says, like, when Stefan sits down and says, "I'm here to tell my story," I feel like there's some people who didn't know that he was going to talk about all of that. And because I think they thought, oh, we're going to not talk about that and avoid all of that. And so I think there's a few people who felt lied to and maybe even tricked by it.
And then Peachy goes on to explain why she thinks Zio might feel this way.
So Zio and I only know each other through like lives and stuff. I've never met Zio in person, and her and I've never had like an outside conversation other than in lives. So I can't jump into what her head is, but the only thing I can say for myself and why maybe someone might be scared is something that was said earlier by a lot of us who are on the live, is that, there's things that happen in that house that you feel like you are in a safe place to do at some certain times. And because there's a lot of cameras there, after you leave, you realize that there's possibly a lot of footage of you.
And that left me wondering, was Zia Morrow, did Stefan lie to her? Because he would sell this as like, they're coming to do a documentary about us. They're going to show all these good things and talk about the bad allegations and make us look good. Is there a possibility that that's what has happened? And she's feeling editing. Sam here. After I filmed this, ID channel dropped a second trailer, and that one seems to be a little bit more positive about Pearadise so far. And Zio left a comment on it very much in support of the house. So maybe Stefan isn't the one who lied to her. We'll wait and find out, I guess. It also reminded me to once again think about Zio and Zio's story, because again, we've talked about her here on the channel several times, and she also had a hard life, a hard background, was dealing with homelessness before she went into the Pearadise house. She's going to lose her community. She's going to lose her home when seeing them visiting her, and she cries every time they leave. She talks about how lonely she feels and how overwhelming that's been. If she speaks out against them, she loses all of that. And that brings me back to what I asked you to hold in your brains. Kay said, "I'm only in this for the girl time. I love shopping with the girls, swimming in the pool with the girls, hanging out with the girls." And that reminded me, Peachy also said,
It took me a long time to detach from that. And then I kind of got sucked in because when you're there, you fall in love with a lot of these girls. Like, you have the best friends that you've ever had in your entire life because they finally understand you in a way that you've never been understood. And then when you decide to leave that, sometimes you have to cut ties with people that you weren't ready to cut ties with. And then sometimes you get sucked back in, and it's really, really hard.
this is the reality that's being sold to these women. They're being sold a plus size safe haven where they can come and just be girls and hang out with other women and other girls who get them, who have been through the same thing. They can go shopping, they can hang out in Vegas, they can have a good time. Even in his video evidence, we see girls dancing together in the living room. It's so clear to me that that is what they're there for. But the reality is, Stefan controls all of that. And just as quickly as he's provided them community, he can take it all away. And before I wrap up, I do want to quickly mention Quirky Love Rosie because I think this video would be remiss without doing so. Even if you don't know her or follow her, she's become very intertwined with this story because she appeared in the documentary's trailer. Since then, a surprising amount of the online conversation surrounding the Pearadise house has been focused on Rosie. Why was she included? What role does she play? Did she even meet Stefan or stay at the Pearadise house? Rosie was one of Stefan's most vocal critics when all of this came out. And since that point in time, she's dropped evidence that was useful because it did prove that despite his denial, he was part of the feeder community, messaging her specifically that he was going to follow her on Phoebe. But at the same time, I've recently seen her going on panels to have respectful conversations with him. And I think that's where things are starting to get messy. Not because Rosie shouldn't tell her story, not because she shouldn't be allowed to share her experiences within this community, but because the conversation is becoming about Rosie herself rather than focusing on the larger issue with Pearadise and this community. The reality is, Rosie might have some really valuable insights to offer. She can at least speak to what it is to be young, chronically online, very vulnerable, and plus size. She can explain what it means to be drawn into or groomed into these communities and these situations. That perspective matters. But her perspective shouldn't overshadow this story, nor the women with very serious allegations. They existed before Rosie entered the chat, and they will exist long after she's done talking about it. And I think for me, I need Rosie to consider that when she's on these platforms and when she's talking about the documentary. Her story isn't invalid, it's just not the most important at hand. And she is overshadowing very important things that need to be said and need to be uncovered about the Pearadise house. And I think that's where I'm going to leave this conversation for now because there is still so much we don't know. And this documentary is coming out on June 10th. And honestly, what I'm hoping at this point is that they are going to not just scratch the surface of this whole thing. I want them to answer some pretty important questions. Why does this keep happening? Why is this a pattern of behavior that no one seems to notice? Why do so many women go to Paradise looking for community only to come out with these horrible stories and allegations of very serious harm that was done to them? Why is it that no one can seem to see the power dynamic that is at play with these men seeking out very young, vulnerable women? It appears to me that this documentary is going to try to dismantle some of that, but honestly, with the way that journalistic documentaries have been going lately, I'm a little skeptical because for this to be anything more than just passive entertainment, it needs to really account for those questions. It needs to account for stories like Shay's, like Cass's, like Ziamara's. It needs to account for the legal and psychological realities of this place. Maybe the filmmakers will have the courage to dive into that, and maybe they won't. But I want to leave you with this. When you strip away all of the nonsense, all of the algorithms, all of the reaction channels, all of the subreddits, all of the, get rid of it. What this ultimately boils down to is important, and that is stories from women who lived in this space and left this space feeling harmed and feeling violated. And their stories are all born from this one place. This one place who is led by a man who has come to the internet more than once to show that he is not going to take accountability, who has shown repeatedly that he knows exactly what he's doing, and who shows us every time he talks that he has no plans on stopping. And for me, that's the part we cannot forget in all of this. All right, that is all I have for you all today. And at this point, I am genuinely curious to know what you think about all of this. Have you been watching it unfold? Were you aware of the Paradise House? Are you new to all of this? And if you just found it and had been watching some content about it, seen his evidence in depth, and do you understand now that it's bullshit? I am genuinely curious to know how many of you were aware of how bad that all is. I'm also curious to know ahead of time, what do you think this documentary is truly going to be? Do you think this documentary is going to unveil some of those hard truths, or do you think it's going to make Paradise look like a paradise?
Rosalind Jean, Rosie Jean, Brown Eyed Rose, Quirky Rose, Ruby Sunshine 91. She's gone by many names in her 15 years on the internet, but who is Quirky Love Rosie, and why are we talking about her right now at this point in time in Girl World? Well, let's discover that together, shall we? Quirky Love Rose was born Rosalind Jean on November 24th, 1991 in Battle Creek, Michigan. Rosie was raised in a conservative Mormon family by her mother Tammy and father Eric, has an older sister who won't be named, and she has one younger brother named Levi. The family moved several times during Rosie's childhood, including a brief stint in California before they settled in Canton, Georgia for the majority of Rosie's childhood. In early childhood, Rosie's mother stated that Rosie was hyperverbal, outgoing, and definitely very stubborn. By Rosie's accounts, she was a strong-willed but obedient child. She believed in the teachings of the Mormon Church. Her family were not as devout as some fundamentalist Mormons, but still attended services regularly, youth group on Wednesday nights, and other church events.
So, I guess I'll start with childhood. I was born into a Mormon family. I was raised Mormon. I left the church when I was 18. When I was 18, we can get to that in a minute. Around that, I was very isolated as a child. I didn't do much outside of church and school. I didn't go pretty much anywhere. I mean, at one point, my parents had 7 jobs between them, and that was later on in my childhood, thankfully. And so, pretty much my entire childhood, everything that I could. And I was a Mormon. I wasn't out going doing drugs, so I was eating, right? And by the time I was 9, I had really extreme depression, but that was back when kids couldn't be depressed.
Rosie felt emotionally neglected by her parents. Levi was diagnosed with autism, and her parents' focus shifted to Levi as he had additional needs. However, his diagnosis was not what triggered Rosie's depression or her ear. Unfortunately, something else happened to Rosie that she later cites as the catalyst for nearly all of her issues in life.
Essentially, I was molested when I was 6 years old. And that's kind of the foundation of what ended up turning into my CPTSD. So he lived with us for 6 months, and ultimately he ended up getting kicked out when my mom walked in on him on top of me, I guess. Not fun, nor fresh.
The abuse had stopped, but the trauma remained. Around age 7, Rosie turned to food for comfort. She continued to gain weight throughout her childhood and was the victim of bullying due to her size. She didn't have close friends, but everyone at school knew who she was. To her peers, she was simply the fat girl. In reality, she was using food to cope with the unaddressed trauma of her childhood abuse. Because she grew up in a traditional Mormon household where conversations around sexuality were taboo, she chose not to tell her parents what happened.
Being Mormon and feeling like that because of what my cousin had done to me, that I was somehow less pure, that I was no longer innocent, that I was of the devil, that there was evil in me. Like these narratives that I formed in my head because I was too scared to talk about what had happened.
By age 13, Rosie spent hours alone in her bedroom, struggling to process the memories and believing she was somehow to blame. By the late 2000s, pressures forced her parents to work multiple jobs to support the family. She was often left unsupervised with her siblings, and she had unrestricted access to the kitchen, where she routinely binged on chips and cereal. Her weight rose steadily throughout high school, reaching over 200 kilograms by her final year. The ongoing bullying at school compounded her low self-esteem. Classmates targeted her with mean drawings in the hallways, and on one occasion, a student pulled her pants down in public while others laughed. In her early teenage years, Rosie came to realize that she was bisexual. She struggled with her hidden sexuality, and at one point, her dad caught her looking at inappropriate material online.
And he handed me a business card with no conversation. And I hadn't said anything. I hadn't come out in any way. I didn't end up coming out till I was 27, by the way. Fully. But He hands it to me, and it was a conversion therapy card for a conversion therapist.
Rosie's weight, her hidden sexuality, and her secretly questioning the teachings of the Mormon Church on gay marriage all contributed to her feelings of isolation. Craving connection, Rosie turned to the internet for comfort, specifically Yahoo Messenger.
I one time I logged in and I said my ASL, because again, like 2010, and like I got like 80 DMs in the span of, I'm not kidding, like 2 seconds, and it crashed my computer. I was like, what is this?
BBW stands for Big Beautiful Woman. Rosie suddenly found a community that celebrated her body type. She began receiving a great deal of attention for the first time, which provided a sense of validation she had never really had before. Not only did they accept her body type, they celebrated it. And for Rosie, that attention was addictive.
Well, I ended up talking to a guy who was way too old to be talking to me. He was 10 years older than me, and he was visiting in town. I lied to my parents. I came up with an alibi with one of my friends that my mom hated, because she's the kind of friend who would make an alibi for me. And I did something really reckless and dangerous, and I met this person up somewhere, and we met up. Events transpired. I went to church the following week, the following Sunday, and I remember I probably arrived late. I sat in the back, so not in like the main. I'm sitting there, I'm just getting antsier, and I just keep having this really loud, big thought in my head that I cannot shake. And it's just, I don't belong here anymore.
Rosie got up, walked out, and officially moved away from organized religion. Eventually, Rosie's family also moved away from Mormonism, although her mother still holds to some of their beliefs if her most recent live streams are to be believed. Her online interactions continued. Rosie began posting nude photos in forums dedicated to BBW, aka Big Beautiful Women. However, during this time, her weight continued to climb.
Hello, my name is Rosie. I'm 20 years old, I'm 5'6", and I weigh about 440. I live in Canton, Georgia, and I just recently moved out 2 months ago, and this is kind of my living space. And, I'm just still kind of moving in, and moved in about 2 months ago. So it's kind of barren. And this is the kitchen and the new house that I just moved into. We had, before the other people who lived in here moved out, we had a different table set, and the chairs were much more sturdy, but these are more antique. And so I'm terrified to sit in them. I tried once, but see this kind of lightweight, old, rickety chair. I'm even scared to even try doing the video because I don't want to break it. It's not mine.
In 2012, Rosie auditioned for the TV show The Biggest Loser. Ultimately, she was not selected for the TV show. She recorded this video as her audition tape, and it showcases the realities of living in a 440-pound body. The fear of breaking furniture, the fear of a heart attack, the fear that you might fall and not be able to get up, the fear of being perceived.
Because that's how I'm perceived. I'm perceived as incredibly lazy, fat, stupid. That's just how I'm perceived, and I want to change that. I want to change that. I'm sick of it because I'm not. I'm not lazy and I'm not stupid. I'm anything but stupid. I was diagnosed bipolar at the age of 16 and I started feeling symptomatic at 15. Dealing with being bipolar has been a very difficult thing to deal with because you're so all over the board. You're much more likely to have an addictive personality, if I have one, obviously, and it would make me want to eat more. You're more likely to, do drugs or become an addict of some sort. Hence, I'm a food addict.
So, up until this point, I haven't given any criticism about Quirky Love Rosie. The reason for that being is that up until this point in the documentary, she was a minor. But at this point, 2012, she is around 20, 21 years old. I am honestly struggling making this first part of the documentary because I relate personally to Rosie regarding the trauma that she went through as a child, and that's hard. However, I'm living proof that you can go through hard and bad things and not become a hard or a bad person. You can choose kindness, choose gentleness. However, Quirky Love Rose would also say the same thing about herself that I'm saying, but I'm going to demonstrate to you that she has not, in fact, chosen kindness or gentleness in hardly any aspect of her life, and especially in more recent years where we have more proof of this. Roz blames a lot of her issues on her childhood assault. This is just a reminder that we can have sympathy for the child that went through that trauma while still holding the adult accountable for their bad actions. That's the goal of this documentary, to hold her accountable for her actions. You should note that the tone of the documentary is going to shift dramatically from here on out. We're going to be talking about greeterism, we're going to be talking about smexy work, and lots of other things that I need to use code words for. And that's just the reality of Quirky Love Rose's online presence during this time. So I also need to make a disclaimer that I have zero experience with that life. I was also pretty sheltered as a child, but I never went through a wild phase like Rosie. So if I mess up, if I say anything out of place, you're welcome to call me on it, but know it comes from a place of innocence and not from a place of malice. So everything I'm going to show you in this documentary is something that I've found a paper trail for, either a video that Roz herself put up or posts that she deleted that I'll find either on the Australian transplant farms, or locale forums, or through YouTube videos that have been archived by people like Nicotee, Scrange, Scarletter, Libby, Aren't You Exhausted, Tiny Blue Anthropologist, like all these amazing creators who have archived a lot of stuff that Rosie has since deleted. Rosie regularly deletes anything that doesn't serve her anymore from her social media and her YouTube. This means that holding her accountable for the crap she says and does is a little bit harder unless you are literally archiving all of her posts. And thankfully, most of the more problematic things have been archived, but not everything. So while I do prefer to only show you things that I have, hard evidence to back up, at some point I might share a couple of things that the community has kept alive by word of mouth alone. However, I have more than enough material with what I've found alone. But there's more than enough. So strap in, buckle up, gird your little pork loins. It's going to be a long one, folks. Let's get into the brain rot, shall we? In 2013, Rosie would join a live cam site where she would perform for an audience for money. She found this website via Reddit. Reddit is also where she met her boyfriend, Chris.
And you met him online too?
I met them at this on Reddit.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, my ex, ironically, was like my biggest tipper on but I didn't know that until a little while.
Do you post pictures?
It's a live site basically. And I fell so madly in love with him, and the majority of our relationship was like monogamous and like pretty standard. And then near the end, things really changed because my stalker,
you heard that right. At the same time that Rosie had met her boyfriend Chris on Reddit, she also met a man who would soon become her stalker. One day during a live webcam, he doxed her live. Terrified, she shut off the camera, but he would later blackmail her into performing live for him. She would characterize this later as assault, but through the internet. Rosie did not tell Chris anything about the stalker.
my stalker's a monster. He's a self-proclaimed narcissistic sociopath.
Did the Skype thing, did that only happen once, or was that a reoccurring thing?
That only happened once. Okay. And I think it's because he got so entrenched in my life he didn't need to. So what happened was we connected as friends, and I was like, would I date someone like him? I realized very quickly I wasn't that interested, so I kind of run-zoned him. He played it cool, but basically what ended up happening was we would like video chat and stuff, and there's a program called TeamViewer that like my dad uses a lot to like do IT work and like help fix computers and stuff. And so I gave him like temporary access with TeamViewer to show me stuff on his computer. So it basically is like a viewing window. And this was when like I was like, I'd just been getting to know him for a little bit, and he showed me that like his use of the dark web.
Rosie's stalker went on to threaten her with other things that he could do to her through the internet or even in person. If you'd like to watch the full interview with Rosie where she goes into more detail about her stalker, you can do so at the We're All Insane podcast on YouTube. The episode is called Groomed into Greeterism. I'll have it linked in the description down below.
I realized how deep in shit I was. It took a couple, like a year, maybe 2 to realize truly just how deep I was. I also experienced like Stockholm with this guy. Like I remember like telling him things like, I love you and things like that. He actually, not only do I think he groomed me into freedom, I think he groomed/brainwashed me into believing I'm polyamorous. Fun fact, I'm not. I thought I was for years.
Here, Rosie further describes what greeterism is.
And at its essence, at its most innocence, it's about like a sexual kink regarding feeding someone generally for the purpose of them being fat or getting fat or gaining weight. There's a big umbrella when it comes to feeding. And the thing about this guy is I think he was into what's called death. And that's where I have a lot of problems. And death is what it sounds like.
Up until this point, Rosie had gone by the name Phoenix Rose on Instagram. In November 2015, she began a new account called Quirky Love Rose. Everyone says Quirky Love Rosie because she put 2 E's at the end. However, she only did this because Quirky Love Rose was taken on Instagram at the time, and it probably still is. Chris and Rosie maintained a long-distance relationship. Their relationship started in September of 2013 when they met officially in person. However, they had been talking for about 4 months prior. Anytime they did have a visit, it was well documented on Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, you name it. It's all there. Rosie began to build a larger social media platform. People followed her for her makeup looks, as pictured here. And this was prior to like the big boom of beauty YouTube. So, people followed her. They enjoyed her makeup looks. In addition to this, she was also still doing the live webcamming, and she was also privately selling photos via Google Drive to interested parties. Her makeup skills are definitely up for debate. The first look I showed was definitely my favorite. This one is not my favorite, and I will leave it at that. Rosie and Chris continued to date, and noticeably, her weight was climbing. Rumors swirled that Chris was part of the Fifi community. During one of their visits, they went out for hibachi and shared this honestly really cute photo of them. I think this is a lovely photo of both of them. This is also the first appearance of the famous tie-dye dress. As her social media following increased, so did the wackadoos that followed her. Rosie had all of her profiles public at this time. Chris's information was publicly accessible, and people began to harass him. Chris and Rosie's relationship became strained as a result. Her activities online were very stressful for him, and he had a child. Now, remember the child because that will be important later in the story. Additionally, Rosie was struggling with jealousy as women began adding Chris on Instagram, either because they were actually interested in him or because, they were wanting to troll Rosie. She states in one infamous post, outtake from last night. Also, to all these girls adding my boyfriend on Instagram now. When I have never talked to you a day in my life, you are rude. Only one person so far that has added him I would even consider an internet friend. If we do not have an internet friendship, why are you adding him? Shady shit right there. Hashtag sorry not sorry. Hashtag he probably isn't accepting any at all. Hashtag his decision. Prior to this, Quirky Love Rosie was posting under Phoenix Rose. She deleted that account, and then on November 23rd, 2015, she posts under Quirky Love Rosie. So I'm back on public, and that does mean that I am no longer in my relationship. I broke up with him in the past couple of days, and I made this account as a distraction through how much this sucks. As I get back into the groove of Instagram, I hope to get back into my BOPO posts and start doing real, actual work towards raising awareness with mental health stigmas. Another day, I'll go more into that. But yeah, if you used to follow my old page and you want to shout me out so people who used to follow me can find me, I would greatly appreciate that. No pressure. It's going to take a while to get back into the swing of things, but I am back. And just when they thought they tore me down, I'm back tenfold. Hashtag Pizza Sisters for Life. Self-love. Body positive. F your beauty standards. Plus size. Honor my curves. I forgot all my hashtags. Body love for all. Buddy love. Body positivity. Mental health. Break Your Stigma, Body Revolution. Chris and Rosie had seemingly broken up. However, it wasn't long before they were back together. So, Rosie's family moved to Georgia. I believe she moved with them. But she posted on Instagram, "If you haven't been following me on Snapchat or Facebook, you may not know that a month ago tomorrow I took this photo the night I arrived to Omaha and moved in. This past month has been crazy, stressful and blessed, amazing and beautiful. I got another job that I've been training for the past week and a half. My love for cooking has been re-inspired, which I share mainly on Les Snaps. Living with my boyfriend has been amazing, truly amazing. And on top of that, we made a very adult purchase of a brand new mattress. I love him with all of my heart, and I can't wait to see where this journey continues to go. 2.5 years we have had a hashtag long distance relationship, and we made it. We made it through all of the hell, the ups and downs that distance brings. We made it through the hate, and our love, above all else, conquered it all. To everyone that believed in us and me, thank you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. All these lonely nights apart waiting for this time was worth it. Every second. To all my hashtag LDR folks, I believe in you and your relationship. It can work. It can come true. It just takes love, patience, kindness, strength, and communication. If they are the one, it's worth it. Hashtags relationship, love, long distance relationship, relationship goals, relationship advice, positivity, plus size, couple, long distance couple, excuse my hair. I was in a car for 12 hours. Rosie's photo was posted on r/fatpeoplehate, a since deleted subreddit where people would hate on fat people, essentially. Um, there was a big thing with Reddit where Reddit had to take down the subreddit, and yeah, this was a big deal for Rosie. She talks about it a lot. While living in Omaha, Rosie had a work from home job. She had also started a YouTube channel and vlogged regularly. You'll notice that there are no vlogs on her account that date back to 2017, 16, 15, anything like that. Rosie deleted everything off her YouTube channel. And actually, she's done that several times over the years. As of May 2026, she only has content dating back 2 years ago to 2024, despite having been on YouTube for years at this point. Rosie was still doing her side business of selling adult content online. Now, at the time, Rosie did post pretty publicly about her selling adult content. It's not a secret. However, she has scrubbed every trace she can from the internet. Rosie was an avid watcher of beauty YouTube. Throwback to when that was a thing, right? She was an avid watcher of Jeffree Star, James Charles, Kat Von D, all of the big Instagram. Behind the scenes, Rosie's weight had continued to climb. She hit her maximum weight of 550 pounds. However, when she took this photo, she was at 530 38 pounds. It was a Fifi comparison photo. The next photo is according to Rosie's The Biggest Loser audition video, she weighed around 440 pounds in 2012. The photo of Rosie in the blue dress was taken in 2013. And then the photo of her in the tie-dye dress was taken in 2017 at her highest weight of 550 pounds. So, over the course of their relationship from 2013 to 2017, she gained 110 pounds minimum. So, for the record, I don't personally believe that Chris is a feeder. However, Rosie was involved with the feeder for the entirety of their relationship. The man she calls her stalker.
I was. It took a couple, like a year, maybe two, to realize truly just how deep I was. I also experienced like Stockholm with this guy. Like, I remember like telling him things like "I love you" and things like that. He actually, not only do I think he groomed me into feederism, I think he groomed / brainwashed me into believing I'm polyamorous. Fun fact: I'm not. I thought I was for years.
She talks about the stalker sending her explicit material and slowly beginning to groom her into Fifiism. Remember, at this point, Chris still knew nothing about the stalker. To be clear, she had told other people about the stalker. She told multiple people, but she hadn't told her boyfriend. And she goes on in this next clip to characterize what happened between them as cheating. And it does beg the question, did her narrative change again? What bothers me here is that she continues to characterize it as cheating. But being raped is not cheating. Just like if a small child experiences CSA, they haven't lost their virginity, they were assaulted. It's different. Losing your virginity implies consent. Having sex implies consent. Rape means no consent. Her mischaracterizing this as cheating bothers me on several levels. One of those being that if someone else hears her story and they themselves have experienced assault while being in a relationship, they may come away from hearing that thinking that I cheated on my partner when this bad thing happened to me. And that's simply not the truth.
I have family in Indiana, and he knew that. And I was planning a trip to go see my family. And he basically made it clear that I didn't really have a choice about seeing him. And I just needed to make it happen because I know what he was capable of. And he made it clear. So I had to lie to my boyfriend. I had to lie to my family. It was the same weekend I actually met the founder of Pizza Sisters for Life randomly. And I remember talking to her about it and trying to be excited about what I was going to go do, even though I didn't want to go. I didn't want to cheat on my boyfriend. I really didn't. And like at the time, I didn't understand the nuance of what the coercion was. And also at the time, this was around the time where Google Glasses were supposed to be the new big thing. So I think this was in 2014. And I believe that when we met up, he recorded me on his Google Glasses without my consent. I know he stealthed me. And he coerced me into an act of feederism without me knowing what it was. So to kind of back up, when I did arrive at the hotel, I remember I got to the door and I walked in and the room was empty. And I walk in and I stop at the bathroom and I realize the light's off. And I look in and the energy, the aura of that room was so fucking dark. And I look over and I see him literally just like lurking in the corner of the bathroom with the lights off. And I'm like, I fucked up. Like, so I went into like full fawn mode. I remember I was like, I'm just going to people please my way through this. Like, I don't know if I thought about it in that terms, but that's just kind of where my brain went. So I was just like, I don't know. I felt like I was just putting on a performance. And at one point he left to go get lunch. And when he came back, I grabbed my food to start to eat. And that's when he jumped me. And I said, what are you doing? Because I'm just trying to eat my food. And he goes, do you know what feederism is? And I said, no. And that's when he continued to do what he was doing and explain what it was to create that psychological tie. So I didn't know what to do. And so, the act finished. And
So did you guys have sex?
I mean, yeah.
If you don't know, stealthing is the act of removing a condom during the sexual act, non-consensually. It is considered as R word in most states in the United States of America. It is horrible that he did anything non-consensually to her. Now, Rosie has put the story on the internet, and her accounts are confusing. I think there's a lot that she hasn't shared. But because she did make it confusing, by 2019, the issues in Chris and Rosie's relationship had come to a head. Rosie posted on Instagram, "Hi, I made an Insta story talking about it, but I just wanted to share an update. Chris and I came to a mutual decision and decided to break up a couple of days ago. I will be moving back to Georgia in the coming months once I figure things out. If you care about how I'm feeling about it, feel free to watch my Insta story. I'm hanging in there." She posted that on February 17th, 2019. By April 10th, 2019, she had moved back to Georgia, stating, "First time in a very, very long time, I've done my makeup. I'm all moved into Georgia now, getting settled in and figuring my shit out. Single life has been an adjustment for sure, and I could not have done this without the amazing support of my friends and family." The move back to Georgia was not easy on Rosie. She posts on Instagram in June of 2019, "Trying to smile through the fear and the uncertainty as my life is hard. Oddly enough, not as hard as I thought it would be. Trying to find a job here in Georgia has been a lot more difficult than I anticipated. In short, I've fallen into the hardest times of my life. I considered setting up a GoFundMe because, frankly, I need to. But I don't know if it's a mixture of pride and self-inflicted anger or what, but I just don't want to. I want to figure this out in my own path. By July 7th, I don't have a place to go at this point. I have a lot of faith that I have enough resources and friends in the Georgia area that I'll be okay. I'm thankful I have reliable transportation, but I'm terrified. I can barely afford to feed myself, and I'm looking into means to make side hustle money right now. I could use all of the love, tips, advice, and positive vibes I can get. Please do not feel obliged to, but I have my PayPal link in my Instagram bio if you want to help me keep my car and have gas to get to interviews, set up for Postmates, etc., and maybe be able to buy myself some groceries. I also have a Cash App I can provide upon request. I've had a couple friends from Facebook help me out, so I thought I'd explain my situation on Instagram. I'm sorry to share this with you all. I feel like a failure. My breakup and the timing of everything really put me in a bind, and I'm struggling. I have so many uncertainties, but oddly enough, I'm learning just how unimportant money is to your overall happiness. Obviously, I need money or I wouldn't be writing this post for my basic needs, but emotionally and spiritually, I'm happier now than I have been for a long time. I know in my spirit of two things. One, I'm exactly where I need to be, and two, everything happens for a reason. I'm doing everything in my power, following my intuition, and doing what I can to make some lemonade out of these damn lemons. Again, please don't feel obligated to send me anything. I'm just deciding to reach out for help from those who want to extend it. Kind words and advice help me just as much. Thank you all for your time reading this. I love you." No judgment from me on this area. Absolutely not. It's hard out there. Short on cash, Rosie began filming specialized content, specifically greeterism content. She also made some new friends. She also made a big announcement. She came out as bisexual on Facebook and Instagram. She was 27 at the time, and she had kept her sexuality a secret for years. Rosie would be invited to BBW proms, which were fancy events for big, beautiful women and their admirers. Rosie began fully exploring her sexuality.
I was just very social 2019. I was like heavy in like the BBW scene in Atlanta at the time.
The BBW scene in Atlanta had a lot going on for it at the time. Rosie began going to a lot of parties, as documented on her Instagram. She went to the Stars Bash in Atlanta at one point. But it wouldn't be long before her friends pulled her into another world. A secret world.
Well, so some of the parties were like regular parties, but some of them were swinger parties. I was essentially medically kidnapped.
Let's say I do gaslight my audience. Who freaking cares?
This channel is not a weight loss channel.
You don't send a huge pie and bread to a weight loss channel. You don't do it.
Again, not a weight loss channel. If anything, I should be like the walking example of what not to be and to lose your weight. I feel like in my past life, I was a doctor or a nurse. I lost control of my bowels and I pooped my pants. Potatoes, man.
Hey girls, welcome back. So Amber has officially reached the point where she's posting on TikTok, uploading back-to-back eating videos, and creating the exact kind of content that got her in trouble on YouTube in the first place. Yesterday's upload clocked in at over 3,000 calories, based on what she actually showed us, and today she's back for round 2, before spending hours on TikTok Live, battling random creators who have absolutely no idea who she is. Unfortunately for Amber, the comments did. As viewers started filling these creators in on some of Amber's more controversial moments, the reactions were pretty telling. TikTok may not know the lore yet, but it's definitely starting to learn. So let's start with today's food video, then we'll get into the live where Amber got a reminder that the internet never forgets.
Welcome to another What I Ate Today video. So I cut up sweet potato, put it in the air fryer. I cut up some jalapeno chicken sausage, put that in the air fryer as well. And then I have some jalapenos here, some pickles, some cottage cheese with mustard. That is my first meal. So next meal, I got some spicy California rolls, honey salad, and then I also got some fried rice. This is like one of my favorite things. This is just a vegetable fried rice. I do not know how to use chopsticks, sorry. Drinking water. I just got this out of the freezer. It's like half frozen and half just like freezing cold, which is how I love my water. I prefer it. Craving something sweet, so I'm gonna have Captain Crunch. This is about to be tasty. My phone is so low right now, I have to bend over to take a bite. So end of the night, I'm gonna have some of these. They're peanut butter M&Ms and they're so good. So I'm probably gonna have like 3 servings.
Come on in and say hey. I'm gonna make sure bro, look, we do the follow trains over here, y'all. We do the follow trains over here. So if you come over here, you interact at all, bro. We follow each other. I follow
Wait,
you.
what does that
It's a lot of y'all though. Leave him alone. We got you, twin. She's amazing.
Oh my God, get behind the camera.
Bro, they talking about,
That's
bro,
really
no, she
you.
don't. I can tell that she don't. She look like a nice girl, man.
I am a nice
She look
girl.
like a nice girl.
I am.
Whatever y'all said that she be on a
I'm a
negative
nice,
end of
dainty
life,
girl.
bro, I don't believe it. I gotta do my research.
Oh my God.
Bro, look her up. She is awful, but she is famous. Stop. She yo.
This is crazy. This is
Bro,
crazy.
y'all dead ass.
Oh, I'm not that bad.
Elena
I'm
with the
not
big
that
one.
bad.
Bro, what? She wet?
No, it's not
Like
awkward.
on my life. Wait, what happened? What happened? What happened?
No, but listen,
Bro, y'all
it's
gotta
so
talk to
funny
me, gang.
when y'all immediately go to someone I'm
Talk about
battling and
ready.
you go over there and like
Wait, bro, we got
it's
101
funny.
viewers in here, y'all. Ask her about what? Yo, bro, are y'all allowed to say this in the chat?
I mean, you can say whatever. They can say whatever, right?
Bro, but yo, dog, why y'all going hard like that, though?
Oh, I'm muted.
I want to
You
know
can't
what the
hear
fuck
me.
happened.
Oh my
All right, I'm gonna
god,
do my
that is
research after this, y'all.
crazy. I never mute them. Should I
I'm gonna
start
do my
muting them?
research.
I'm gonna start muting them because I feel like a lot of people say like mute the other person because they do it to you. That's crazy. I battle to battle, right? Like it's fun, but like if I win, that's great, but that's never really my goal. It's just kind of like fun and something different, right? And I thought it would just like talk. But I guess I'll just start muting people. That's fine. Mute. Muted. Muted. But thank you guys so much. Oh my god, I'm winning. I love that for me. I feel so special. Porcahontas, that is me, booby. I am Porcahontas. My Starbucks order is actually the drink that I got in like 2 TikToks ago. So I forgot what it's called, but you could see it there.
Oh, she is a YouTube streamer.
Okay, so what's happening is y'all are spreading the word on me. Thank you. I be in my motherfucking grave saying that haters are my biggest fans. Like they're there before anybody else. They know the most lore. They know all the rumors. They know what I was like.
Rosie Jean. Brown Eyed Rose.
What do you want to do? Are you sure about that? And then my friend said, ask for it. What do you want Stefan to do?
Zach and Rain. Hey everybody, it's me, Zach's hour-long live stream to raise money that is ran by 2 of my friends here in Chicago. And we raised $4,000 to help them out with their monthly vaccine clinics that they do for underserved neighborhoods here in Chicago to help make sure that pets are vaccinated, microchipped, and that we're keeping them together with their families. So thanks so much to everybody who came to support and to check out the stream and donated. I really appreciate it. And I'll leave a link to their website down below where they do have the option of donating directly to them on their website, should that be of something of interest to you. But I say all of that because yesterday while I was doing that stream, Rosie actually did a live stream, started a live stream while I was in the middle of that. And I don't normally on Twitch watch any of the girls, at least not these days, but because it was a special event and because Rosie chose to go live while I was doing that, I said, we'll watch like the first hour. And so we did, in fact, watch the first hour, and the footage you're about to see is directly straight from my Twitch stream. I am gonna go in and edit some of it, so it's not like directly there, but like you're gonna see my typical like Twitch stream setup and things like that. So it's not gonna be the same vibes as as a normal Zachary Michael video that you get over here. But just know that if that's not your style, if that's not your thing, this is probably the only time that I'll be formatting a video on the main channel like this, but it did feel, well, I felt stuff to say. And I think because of that, I wanted to make sure to share my thoughts here. And so instead of just like recreating the wheel and filming a whole new video and things like that, able to make it to the Twitch stream. Those are the parts I'm ready for. But hi everybody. Okay, so I do have, here's the thing, I no longer have, this is gonna get taken out of context somewhere and be like, Zach hates their ex. I don't have, all the chopsticks I once had in my home were all my exes, so I just don't have any. So I do have a spoon. Is it kettle corn? No, was it supposed to be kettle corn? It was supposed to be kettle corn. Well, unfortunately, it's just buttered popcorn. Also, wait, did she like cut it open somehow? I don't think I have scissors to do that. Perhaps I should I'll just open it up like this. All right, and then this is the Built Bar I have. She was doing some kind of complicated popcorn engineering. You're recreating the popcorn bowl? Yes. So today we're doing a charity stream. Actually, I haven't talked about people helping pets in a second. So let me just tell you a little bit about them before Rosie starts yapping. There's something poetic about sniping Rosie right now while also raising money for pets. I know, I love it. I love it. That's kind of why I was like, I don't normally like stream snipe Rosie or anything like that. But considering what she's had to say about me and my pet parenting, yeah, it's kind of fun, isn't it? I'm reading so that I don't fuck up and say the wrong things sometimes. People Helping Pets is a nonprofit that's based here in Chicago. It's actually co-founded by two of my personal friends, one of which is a vet. All of the proceeds donated today go towards supplies that they use.
Boy, do we have a lot to discuss.
Anyways, go to peoplehelpingpets.org for more information.
It's been a long time since the daytime crowd has seen me at my normal scheduled time. Hello, good to see you.
Hi,
a
Rosie.
lot.
Grace, thanks so much for sending a donation. Good morning, Cheesecake. Thanks for your donation
documentary
as well.
coming out, Big Girls Wanted, Escaping Paradise. I sometimes forget I operate on like this assumption that like everybody knows what I'm talking about at all times, and that's just not the reality, you know. And
wait, why is it like that?
It's been a minute since I've been live on my own platform. But mid last week, I was all over TikTok, and there's a lot to discuss, and I don't want to shy away from that, but I want to try to give as much context and explanation as possible because I know a lot of my reporters. Y'all don't keep up with reaction channels. You don't keep up with like all the other stuff happening on all the other platforms. So I cannot expect you guys all to know all that, right? And I did not want to come back on my platform and like act like nothing happened. That felt really disingenuous to me. So many things have happened that I don't even know if I'm going to remember to hit them all. But I want to just kind of give you guys a bit of an update.
This is such a mess.
About why I've been so quiet the past week and everything that's going on. So I will be talking about some stuff that involves like heavier themes. I promise you, I'm not going to be getting graphic and anything, but certain terms might get thrown around.
Grace, thanks so much for $50 to people helping pets.
When I have to talk about the Amber of it all,
Lily and Lightning, thanks so much for
the fact that
donating
it was
$10
tied up
as
and
well.
goes around people who are victims of
I just
SA,
started a
things
poll.
like that I have to be careful of because of YouTube's guidelines and all that. So just there is going to be some like serious conversation. My brother is going to be home in about an hour. He's getting home a little early today. So that's why there is also like in the title like Walmart pickup haul, because I did a little pickup order of some stuff. But I want to just kind of talk everything out first. So obviously I think I'm a little nervous. So as my members know, on Friday I canceled my member stream, and I did that because one, I had said the week prior that the new expectation moving forward is I'm only guaranteeing 2 a month, but I'll do my best to meet it every week. And I really didn't want to do it this past week, but I realized that was going to be my first time going live after me speaking to Stefan directly and everything. And I didn't want the potential of me talking about anything being kind of paywall to come off a certain way. I didn't want that to be a barrier for people if they wanted to see what I was saying or doing directly after all of that. And that felt wrong. So that's ultimately, and also I was just not ready to talk yet, which I'll get into. I was just not right.
Thank you, Chris, for the $10.
I guess it was Wednesday. I'll be honest, the exact dates of these are fuzzy for me. I have not seen any reactionary content. I haven't seen any of the clip playbacks. all of it. I'm going off my own memory here, so if they're not exact, I do apologize. I'm doing the best that I can on that front. Leading up to what I think was on Wednesday, I'm pretty sure it was Wednesday, Stefan and the Pearadise people had really been like coming at me. That day in particular, he had posted a TikTok of a meme tagging me, and he was just constantly poking and prodding at me, alongside all the shit that I've been dealing with Pro World and everything. And I was definitely at my wit's end about it, to be real. Just trying to navigate this situation without,
You know what? You don't have to be on
know,
TikTok.
hurting people has also been something I'm trying to figure out as well.
You literally could just
And
sign off.
I had been keeping up really heavily through stuff while still trying to like protect myself, because I'm not trying to watch reaction shit about me. But I did catch some shit because I was spending a lot of time the week leading up to that, like watching Ziomara's lives, and
I'm not trying to, but I did catch some.
and so I had caught some things here and there in that regard. But you know, I was heavily involved in the conversation. And there had been a few times where I had went to like lurk in Stefan's live. I don't do that shit with like a fake account. I don't. Stefan, by the way, is the guy that's going to be talked about and featured primarily in the documentary that's coming out. So lurking just means like sitting in the back, like you're just watching. Like there's a lot of people that lurk my lives. Like they don't interact in the chat. They might not even subscribe. They're just watching, right? So that's what I was doing on multiple occasions. But on TikTok, when you join live, it says so and so joined, and so when they can see my name and they know who I am, they know I'm in there, right? And like, I don't operate behind fake alt accounts on TikTok or YouTube. Or shit like I don't. Do that. The only anonymous accounts I have are on Reddit, and that's because Reddit had a lot I wanted to say to him and would have wanted to have a conversation with him about, but I did not believe it would be possible to have any kind of productive conversation until that day I joined the live, and he did what he was doing. He was just, I mean, to his own admittance, like bullying. me. I finally said to him, because I was just fed up, and I just said, I mean, the real question is, was I even talking about you in terms of the trailer? And I watched it dawn on him for like the first time that like, oh, maybe this isn't all about me, you know? And
Right, Wilma. Oh my God, he was bullying
I felt
you.
like
He
there was an opportunity for a
assaulted women.
conversation. And so we had one, and that's clipped all over. I don't know how much. I don't know if someone clipped the whole thing and did it unedited. I would hope so, because from the like bits and headlines that I've caught, I've seen a lot of the picking and choosing of certain moments and things like that. But that's just
She's not
what Lolo
watching
does.
reaction content about
So
herself.
I hope that the that's the one thing about TikTok lives that suck, is like there's no replay to see it like directly from the source if you weren't there unedited. But I had a conversation with him where I thought I made it clear that I was like, we're not friends. I'm not here to like get a friendship out of this. I just want to have a conversation.
You want to talk to
directly
somebody's
apologize to me for
abuser.
bullying me, which I didn't. Expect. And some people gave me shit for not apologizing back, which I purposefully didn't do because of my own reasons.
Because he's an abuser, and you should have been talking to him to begin with.
Ultimately, I wasn't the one poking and prodding at him. I wanted that to stop, and I wish in hindsight, like what I know now,
Oh,
I
there ain't
wish
no
I
other
had
way. Thanks so much
seen
for the $10. Appreciate it.
how being as neutral as I was could have had a far more negative net impact than I was cognizant to. Because, and I'm going to get back and kind of readdress things, but there's just so much to cover here. Because after that happened, that night, we had a planned internet outage that was supposed to be back in the early morning. But for our internet, it didn't come up until like an hour before I was in Zio Mara's live. Zio is someone else affiliated with the documentary. And a bunch of craziness happened in that live. Trust me, we'll get there. In that time, I slept like a fuck ton. Like right before I joined Zio's live, I posted some Instagram stories where like I didn't even see until a couple hours later. Just I hadn't even removed the crusties from my eyes, and I had like slept. I slept most of the night and all day, like because as you guys had known, I was really struggling with sleep until like these past multiple days. I've actually been sleeping pretty good. Fucking finally.
There aren't captions on
I just want to say
live streams on YouTube,
that
Grace. Sorry.
I was like offline that whole time. So I found out some stuff while I was actively talking with the other participants in Ziomara's live, like in the beginning part of that live, when I was more involved. Again, I'll get back and kind of go into more specifics in a minute, but ultimately even before the end of that live, like when I dropped out of Zio's live and I had some time to kind of, once I learned some new information and once kind of everything just hit me, I was like, I just need to sit back, shut up, and listen.
Shut up and eat your pizza rolls. Rose, know about that.
I didn't feel like there was any other course of action that was the right one, because in initially talking with Stefan, what I wish I had realized is that first part of the conversation was really what I was
not for me.
there for.
The texture's weirdly.
And in staying and continuing the conversation and going
Did
on,
I eat
which
it
we
all?
did talk
Yeah.
about a wide variety of topics. I can't even go into all of it. We talked about a lot of different things. And there was just like all different aspects regarding, and I had questions I wanted, just whether I believed him or not, I just was staying neutral. And I didn't think that through, like how that could come off or how that could impact other people. I really didn't.
You prioritize trying to clear your name about some shit that didn't matter.
But I wanted to have that part of the conversation, and I wanted to ask those questions. But there was a point near the end where when they were talking to me, it took me a little while to catch on, but eventually I caught on to like, oh, they're like trying to talk me into a circle to like agree with them and like condone this. And I'm like, that's not what I'm here to do. So I kind of just walked that back, and eventually I was like, dude, it's fucking was so late by the time I got off. I was like, it's time for me to just like try to go rest.
She didn't catch on to shit.
And so
she's all she is full of
after
shit.
Zio's live, I don't know if it was that night or the following night, I listened to one of the relatives of Shay, the girl who passed away. I listened to
Full of shit and pizza rolls.
Her family, like her family members live, and just I didn't interact until they directly asked about me being it, because again, you can see viewers on TikTok. And I just made it clear, like, I'm just here to like listen. Like, I'm not trying to insert I'm just trying to learn here. And
it bothers me how much she acts like
for that.
She can't just not tune into all of these TikToks.
I have a lot that I want to say, and I quite literally legally can't. There's a lot of stuff going on in my life behind the scenes, and in relation to this.
Yeah, the way she doesn't look at the camera when she has conversations like this, so she doesn't have to look at the chat.
I think for me, when it got to the point where I agreed to talk to Stefan, I thought I made it very fucking clear where I stood, and it was very, very clear by the time I woke up and I got into Zio's live and I talked to Paola and I got an understanding of what was happening. He kind of took that conversation as like a green light to be able to speak for me, to be able to say there's some kind of allyship there.
sucks.
I have a lot that I want to say, and I quite literally legally can't. There's a lot of stuff going on in my life behind the scenes, and in relation to this.
Yeah, the way she
that
doesn't
just
look at the camera when she has conversations
sucks.
like this, so she doesn't have to look at
And
the
I
chat.
think for me, when it got to the point where I agreed to talk to Stefan, I thought I made it very fucking clear where I stood. And it was very clear by the time I woke up and I got into Zio's live and I talked to Paola and I got an understanding of what was happening. He kind of took that conversation as like a green light to be able to speak for me, to be able to say there's some kind of allyship there or something that never existed. And I was mortified because that clearly meant that either something I did or didn't do led to that. And like, I'm deeply upset at myself about that part of it. Because when I went back up, because I left Zio's live when Stefan came up, because we had our conversation and that was it. That's all I wanted. I didn't want to interact again. And I also wanted to take with seriousness, like the feedback I was given by Paola and others, and make sure that I move forward and my actions like reflect that. But as soon as I left, he came up and he accused Paola of bullying me. And I was like, absolutely fucking not. That's some bullshit right there. And so I did bring myself back up to cut, and I cut him off because he was speaking for me too. I was like, don't fucking speak for me. She was not bullying me. She was holding me accountable. Which she has every right to because she's directly involved in this. And we're not allies. I don't know where the fuck you got that narrative from. I guess it was just because I was too nice. But I was just trying to be respectful.
She's so irritating.
If you're thoroughly confused by this conversation, I do apologize. There's a lot that's going on outside of my platform that
Well, it's
disingenuous of me not to address.
It's happening outside of your platform.
So yeah, they
because
gave him
you're
grace
inserting
comment. Let's talk
yourself
about
into
that.
other
I haven't been looking at the
platforms.
chat very much.
We know, girl, you can't make eye contact with your audience.
I feel like you didn't give him permission to talk for you from what you said in that combo, in my opinion. That's how I felt. But clearly, he like you give an inch, they take a mile. Very that, right?
Only
the give
here
him
for
grace comment was
Zachary. Thanks so much for
specifically about
gifting
everyone's
or
involvement.
to
who
donating
lost shit.
$15.
My entire point there was that everyone who was close to Shay lost someone they felt close to. That was all I meant. That's it. I promise you that's all I meant. That's all I meant.
She's really like.
I just don't think we should be giving abusers grace. I get the instinct, like as a woman, we are told to always be kind to men for safety, but we need to break that. I think you have a valid point. My point was specifically about grief, not giving him grace about the accusations or anything else. I was specifically talking about grief.
But Rosie,
I think sincerely apologize for the fact that my word choice led to that not being communicated.
It's not.
Way that I intended it to.
First of all, it's not about your word choice. I'm just gonna mute her for 2 seconds. Sorry. It's not about your word choice. They talked about how he has been using Shay as a way to deflect from talking about the serious allegations against him. And so by you saying, well, he deserves grace because of what happened to Shay, that is being interpreted as you saying, well, yeah, we need to give him grace for that. When he's using it as a deflection tactic, that's what Paola said that they were upset about. But you didn't actually fucking listen when she was sitting there talking to you. And that's why you still don't understand why it was an issue that you were giving grace to him. I'm sorry. Pissing me off. Sweet Persuasion 1, thanks so much for subscribing at tier 1.
That's all I meant.
Is she gonna cry?
For every person that's immediately involved in this situation, whether like not even just like me being intoxicated, but the people that were close to Shay, the people that were close to Cass, the people that were directly involved in the Pearadise house, like this is their real fucking life, and
Betty
I
Soul,
never
thanks so much for
meant to
donating
disrespect them.
$15.
I never did. So I just don't understand why you needed to talk to him at all. Why did you think they need your opinion? Did they ask for it? When you say they, who are you referring to, Karma? What I was getting to earlier was when that conversation with Stefan, I wanted to talk about like the back and forth. That's what I was saying earlier. Like I stayed on too long and I carried on more conversation than was necessary.
Period.
What I should have sat and asked myself in the moment prior to going up, like, why would I want to do this? Because I was asked that during the live. And I was like, that's a really good question. And I realized I hadn't thought that part through. You know?
A mess.
Like I fucked up there.
A mess.
You gave him attention when you told us you would never do that. That's a fair point.
Exactly, Diva.
I was at my wit's end, and I felt at the time, I felt like, because up until that point, I had been trying to I felt like all these other conversations were happening, and these different
Just trying to come up with
aspects
her
and
answer.
experiences were being handled on different platforms that I didn't want to associate myself with. But I felt like there was an opportunity for some of the insanity to die down if we could just have a respectful conversation.
You wanted to have a respectful conversation
what I
with a
was
guy
thinking
that you've claimed to be a manipulator and an abuser. There's nothing that needs to treat that conversation with respect.
And that's why,
unless you're getting onto his live stream and
when it
calling him out
all,
for
like,
his bad
when it came to a
behavior,
head
then I don't
and-
understand what the point
and then
is.
Xiomara's live happened, I was like, I just think at this point, the best thing I can do is just take a step back. Do you think it's easier to see now that you're receiving criticism? Do you think it's easier to see now what exactly? So the reason I felt like doing it publicly made more sense is because, like, if people found out I was talking to him privately, that could easily get twisted or manipulated.
Sweet persuasion.
And, like,
Thanks so
imagine if
much
we had a
for
conversation like
donating
that privately. He was
$20.
going around telling people XYZ.
You didn't have to talk to him,
To see
period.
the conversation. I wouldn't trust him.
She didn't need to talk to him, period, just to be clear. Sigma Alpha Beta Mom, thanks so much for $20. Appreciate it. There's no conversation about if it needed to be done in public or if it needed to be done in private. You just don't have to talk to him. The things that you're getting upset about is him, quote unquote, bullying you on the internet, even if he admitted to that. Just don't watch him. Block him if you're being so threatened. You blocked me on social media. You can't block this man that's known for being abuser. Of course you can't, because then you can't sit in these live streams for hours on days watching this man so that you can keep yourself inserted into the space. That's the problem, Rosie. Anyways, let me speed her back up until we get caught back up. You know what I'm saying?
With a private conversation, I guess. Rosie, are you okay? Maybe you need a mental health break. You seem very stressed. Yeah, I took a bit of a mental health break the past couple days. And I want to address very quickly, and then I want to move on because I think I have most of these people name blocked. Anyway, the Amber Lynn, Emily of it all. Xiomara had like a 5-hour long crazy live, and I was more involved in the beginning of it. And at some point when I was up there, she invited in Emily, and I was like, I'm not doing that. Absolutely not. I have nothing nice or respectful to say in her presence, and I want absolutely fucking nothing to do with Emily and Amber.
So that's why you just sat there and talked to Fupa Cheese about Amberlynn and Emily? You just wouldn't talk to them directly because you're a weenie. A weenie.
After.
And you'll talk to Stefan? Of all people, he ain't that different from Emily. Please.
Forgot when it was, like a couple weeks ago. I fell down the rabbit hole of the whole Discord situation and how she handled it. And I want no part in it at all. And I want nothing to do with that. And I think the way Amber successfully bulldozed herself into that to make it all about her.
Just to be clear. Oh, first of all, wait, we're gonna go back because what do you mean you're criticizing Amber Lynn for bulldozing a situation and making it all about her? So first of all, that part. Second of all, let's go through the list of people she won't talk to directly. Amber Lynn Reed, somebody she was previously friends with. Amber Lynn Reed's girlfriend, Emily, somebody that she's left comments on her Instagram posts about. Michael B. Petty, somebody that she's honestly probably just scared of. People she will talk to: Fupa Cheese, Stefan, insane, insane. Oh yeah, she won't talk to Keemstar. Right.
I think the way Amber successfully bulldozed herself into that to make it all about her was indicative of exactly who she is.
Also, just to be clear, everything that I saw about Amber Lynn being a part of that was mostly her responding to you talking shit about her. Just to be clear, by the time Amber Lynn came around to that live stream, on Zero Mars live stream, they had already long past talking about Pearadise.
I was pretty pissed how she just completely cut off Ashley Avocado and the conversation that they were having that was very important, and it never recovered.
Maybe I just didn't see that part. But also, even if that is the case and Amber Lynn was cutting off important conversations about the Pearadise situation, Miss Rosie Lynn Reed is nobody to be speaking in that situation.
After that point, and I want nothing to do with that, and that is why I removed myself. That's why I removed myself from every time Girl World tried to insert themselves into the conversation that they weren't invited to. So
conversations you weren't invited to, and if you were invited to them, it's so that Paola could sit there and drag your ass for platforming and giving validity to a man that hurt so many women.
That's really all I gotta say. I have nothing to say to them, and I remember briefly, like, when she was just spouting bullshit, I was correcting that in the chat, but in terms of like a conversation like that, like, I'm good.
She's so funny.
That's really all I gotta say about that. I don't want to detract too far beyond that. So I don't
Harley, thanks so much for gifting or donating $5 to People Helping Pets.
Because the one thing for me that is very important is I do not want to get into like tit for tat or like beef with any of the women or anything like that, and I certainly don't want decisions that I'm making to cause more harms or problems.
Then you should probably start logging off.
I don't want that. So if
Memphis,
if my actions
thanks so
are
much for
having that impact, then I
$25
have to adjust
donated
myself.
to People Helping Pets. Appreciate it.
I can't look away from this train wreck.
Yeah,
It's
that's what
just
I mean.
getting
I
worse
just-
by the
I
day.
didn't want any part of that. I
OMG.
didn't
Liv
want
the
any
Kid,
part
thanks so
of the
much
sensationalism.
for 4 months of Prime. Ironic thing about People Helping Pets is that it's also people
Okay,
helping people.
I started
Makes
to
you
respect
think.
you for staying away from panels before the
Exactly.
documentary. You were the one to do that, but seeing you there just made you like everyone else. You're human, but it's disappointing. I think that's really valid. Honestly, okay, I think that's really valid. When I think back on last week and I think back on just the chaos and like, I guess in a way, it's like I felt like everyone else was doing it and my voice wasn't being heard. And
I was
like,
silenced!
I was just getting fucking bulldozed in a lot of ways. And I
Nobody was
for some reason
listening to
felt
me
like
because it's not about you.
that part of it would help.
Why is your voice important? Why is your voice important in this situation? Oh God, she's irrigating. Fawfulicious, thank you so much for $15 to People Helping Pets. Appreciate it.
And I think I was wrong. And I think it was short-sighted and I think it was impulsive.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm confused on where I fully land on it at this point because I feel like there was a couple good things that came out of that conversation, but I don't feel like they outweigh the net negative, I guess.
The net negative. The net somebody pointed out that she said something along the lines of like the net positive didn't outweigh the net negative. And it's like, by definition, you can't have a net positive and a net negative. Like, that's not how it works.
Hey, Jacob, I say this multiple times. I wasn't in the house. I was a part of the documentary, and you'll find out more when it comes out. I've talked a bit about it here and there, but there's a reason I'm involved, and you'll know more. It's actually this Wednesday. It's like 3 days away.
God help us. Hopefully everything can just be done once the documentary comes out.
I talked about this briefly, but I think I found him on TikTok, yeah. And we got connected somehow on Discord. I don't know who added who. I really fucking don't. He messaged me first. We had one conversation, and then I never followed through with anything regarding that because after I learned more, I was just not interested, and then everything kind of spiraled thereafter. Like I think the following year.
Doesn't she know? She showed the screenshot.
But I wasn't like crazy active or anything.
Why is she acting like I don't know who added who?
I'm not above criticism in this situation. I'm not. That's why I took a beat to collect myself. This was a misstep, hoping to stay away from engaging in that content.
Oh, Sky Fury in the chat. You can't see it yet, and it got deleted. Actually, it got deleted, but Sky Fury sent a super chat that said you didn't give grace for Jeff's victim.
Will you continue in the future to go on the lives?
See, this is her deleting it right now.
Specifically for Stefan, absolutely not.
Ollie time, thanks so much.
Probably not, but I don't want to
people
put anything definitive there in case I do end up joining a live panel for a certain reason that I feel is a good idea. But again, that's something I'm going to have to take into consideration.
Stop joining live
I don't want to
panels.
make a misstep like that again. I don't want to take someone at face value and say things and not realize that, like the severity of that. I'd rather you rage on Instagram and hear on YouTube about him and give him attention to swear on TikTok. It's understandable. Well, thank you, Lindsay. I appreciate that. But the thing is like, I thought you were blocked. I'm not doing this.
I'm not doing this. I do think it's, just to be clear, I think it's fair
What we're
for
not
people.
about to do is take the situation and turn it into something else.
Just to be clear, I think it is absolutely fair to bring up the way that she responded to people being concerned about Jeff/Blue Bear's allegations that were out there against them. Correct me if I'm wrong. The way I remember things happening was literally she was like, I've collected the information, I've gotten all the sources, and if you don't have a legitimate court police record, then I'm gonna need to see the proof. Otherwise, I don't think it happened.
Everyone has a story in their own shit. Nobody is perfect. How about we give some grace for things we know absolutely nothing about? Yep. Because I'm not joking. If I was lied to, which I don't think I was, but if I was, and there was a real victim in a real crime, then there needs to be a real police report and a real arrest warrant. That's what I'm sticking to for that. So
You don't see her asking for police reports now. Exactly. Live the kid. Thank you so much for donating $25. Appreciate it. Right. She said that since there wasn't a police report about what happened with Jeff, it wasn't real.
Appreciate getting on live to address everything and apologize. That's not easy. And I think a lot of people would have recorded a video addressing everything. Thank you, Rosie. Yeah, not a problem, Jordan. I think that's why I said, like, I think it's just important, first of all, that I'm not
Exactly.
not aware of
Teardrop.
any
Thanks so much
video
for $25
with that. I
gifted.
don't watch apathetic facts.
BB audition time.
I know
It
that back
is.
in the video about Zio. I saw Zio watch that, but I don't know anything else.
Lauren Michael, thanks so much for subbing
I think the
at
best
tier
course of action is
1.
to let the women impacted by the house share their stories while you focus on the next chapter of your life. Yeah, I don't want to speak for anyone. So you're not going to address the read of it all? I had no idea. Like I said when I spoke to Paola, I had no idea that Rita had any accusations. None. I was blown away. Like I said in the first live, my only knowledge of her was that she was very well respected in communities that
Oh, Lavender Spearmint said, but you knew Stefan did. T. T.
Used to be part in. She and I had tons of mutual friends. Everyone that I knew her, that I knew her. That's the part where like I was like, okay, I really just gotta shut up. Like clearly I've got some knowledge gaps here. Clearly
Shut up and eat your pizza rolls.
I just accidentally put myself in this really shitty situation when I
Sweet persuasion.
information I didn't know. I didn't know. And I'm mortified. I could respect that you're able to acknowledge when you need to take a step back. Yeah, like at that point, that's when I was like, oh, I don't know what the fuck else to do. Like I just need to take a step back and shut up. And I wanted to take a beat before I came onto my platform because I wanted to be able to talk like this.
I might need to be reminded.
Love my cream. Oh, wheat.
Oh.
Rita was implicated as a creep in a video from Sam at every size. Rosie shared that video and recommended it.
Stunning. So she either didn't actually watch that video or she did and now she's just acting stupid. Perfect.
The woman we just saw defending his behavior, her name is Rita. And Rita is intriguing because she's been around for a very long time. She calls Stefan her chosen family, refers to him as her brother, and she is the one we see most often defending his behavior, going as far as to say that her friend is not capable of SA. But here's why I want to draw attention to Rita.
Rita, if there's anybody that can speak for like the vibes and the place and the party, it's Rita. Rita is in here. She said she's brought hundreds of people here.
Hi, Rita. That's right. She has helped by serving as the face of the Pearadise community, bringing in hundreds of women by Stefan's own account.
Perfect. Jamie, thanks for the 100 bits. I think Colin, I was just getting ready to read a similar comment making the same point.
To not center my feelings.
Do I still
in these
ever
parts of the
sped up?
conversations, I wanted to just kind of talk a bit about what happened, guys, because I'm not purposefully withholding anything. Like, there's literally so much conversations happen over the course of those two lives. There's no way on God's green earth I could summarize all of it. But no, when it came to the Rita part, I was fucking mortified. I learned about that on the live with y'all. I didn't read the message Paula sent me. Like I said, I'd been sleeping all day, and I had just gotten my internet back up and kind of like came to everything at that point. My poor brother, like the internet was supposed to be up at 10 o'clock when I was sleeping, and I just zonked out, and God bless my family, they let me sleep because like my mom and dad texted me. I was out, and then when my brother finally just like knocked on my door and I woke up to that, I was on the phone with tech support for like about an hour, like 50-ish minutes. It's probably best for your reputation to not address anything true. Like when they get into controversy, they just ignore it. I put that person. If I fucked up, then I'll say that.
Not really though.
Like if I were to come on here and not talk about it, a ton of people would have no idea that any of that even happened.
You don't loud about your fuck up, and also you just literally, as somebody in my chat pointed out, got done you literally just got done ignoring somebody's message about Jeff and Jeff's victims. So
that's not what happened, baby cakes. That's not what happened, and I'm not reopening my trauma like that for y'all. That's a distortion of reality. Hey Holly, thank you so much for the super chat. Hey beautiful, so happy I caught the lives. Everything okay? I've been working like crazy. You seem upset. Did I miss something important here for you, girl? I appreciate you, Holly. This is a more serious.
Her comment to Baby Cakes was, "Are you going to clarify the rumors cosplayed as a child for adult content? I've been in now for a little while, but hearing that made me sad, but I'm hoping it's not true. I love you." They're talking about the Matilda stuff.
This conversation happening right now. I'm just holding it with the seriousness it deserves, I guess. Yeah, absolutely. No, people are severely That's the other thing behind the scenes that I've been dealing with and struggling with is how much my prior adult content is being memed and shared and used without my consent on all platforms because some of the screenshots are not inherently NSFW.
Listen, when I was going back and looking at previous conversations with Michael, her being upset about the adult content in regards to the Matilda stuff, it is interesting because she was paid to do that content. She like agreed to participate in that content. And I remember like at one point,
love my cream of wheat.
Rosie Rosenblatt, thanks so much for the 100 bits. Appreciate it. At one point, she was like retweeting it and like promoting that content. Really, that was part of her job at the time, and that's how adult contenters make money, is that they promote the content that they're making on the internet. I understand her desire to now not have that shared with the world. Like I get that. Like she would rather not see that stuff about herself. I think that's just like a tough part of the nature of the internet. She probably deserves not to have it like used against her and used against her in the ways that like people are. I think people are purposely like posting at places to make her uncomfortable and stuff like that in some cases, right? I think it's like different to just discuss that exists in general, because it does exist. Like, it's a thing that Rosie did, a thing that Rosie participated in, a thing that presumably Rosie got paid to do. I think it's like a bit of a nuanced conversation. Her adult content would be shared far, far less if she didn't behave the way she did with Ivy after the fact. Yeah, so also an important part of that conversation is that Ivy Davenport, the person who like produced that content, made that content with her. Rosie went on to say that like Ivy was one of the people that groomed her into feederism, and was saying that like Ivy was sharing that content without her permission. But again, like Ivy had that was like a professional adult content related thing. You know, so anyways, it's a lot. It's a lot. Megan, thanks so much for gifting or donating $50 to people helping pets. Also, we probably won't watch the entire live stream because I imagine she'll stream for hours, and there are other things that we're trying to do that we're trying to do on the charity stream. Um, I mostly wanted to catch this part at the beginning because I figured that's when she would speak the most bullshit. So whenever the grocery haul or whatever gets started, we'll leave that shit behind.
I just wish that all of these people who are giving these victims the respect they deserve would just hold a modicum of respect for my trauma.
Well, first of all, this isn't. Are you talking?
Love my cream of wheat.
Sweet persuasion. Thanks for the bits. That is, again, this is why people are like, why are you making this all about you? What does the women of the Pearadise house, the Pearadise situation, what does their trauma have to do with yours? By the way, just for the record,
My trauma isn't because of Stefan, but it's because of predators. And I just wish that would stop. Because there's enough material.
you know what? I'll say it. I no longer care if you leave this broad alone. Carly, it's been a long time coming, Diva.
You don't have to do that.
I'm here, babe.
I need to recenter myself.
Remy coming out of nowhere with the jump scare. See, also, I just want to be clear. She's allowed to have trauma, to experience trauma, to still have feelings related to her trauma. The problem is she is situating this whole conversation. The whole purpose of this was seemingly to try to explain and or apologize for her behavior in these live streams, and she's already turned it into crying about herself. And it's like, if the point here today is supposed to be you apologizing for the negative impact you had by going on Stefan's live stream, then you can't just show up here and start crying about your own trauma, because what people want you to realize is that you doing that was not being thoughtful towards other people's trauma, and now you're sitting here asking people to be thoughtful about your trauma. And it's just like, well, yes, that's what people are asking of you.
Sorry, guys. I'm not trying to get all like that today. I'm glad you're actually not doing the knee-jerk reactions you were prone to and showing continue to mature. I've wanted that to be a faster process. People don't know the younger you and how much. Thank you, Dad. I think you're still typing, but thank you.
Knee-jerk reactions, like her impulsive decision to go on a live stream with Stefan. That's what she said. It was an
Sometimes being the
impulsive
quiet one, not saying
decision.
anything is the smartest move. Don't give them any more ammo, please. We get you regret this now, but please respect yourself. Don't talk about it. How much you've grown. I really appreciate that, Dad. Thank you.
I want to piggyback off of what your dad said about how much you've grown and improved. Just in the like. Time I've known you, like you definitely changed for the better. I feel
Grown and improved in what ways, Remy?
And I see it. I notice it for sure, and I just want to say that I'm proud of you for how strong and resilient you are. You know, it's something I wish I had for myself. You know, but yeah, I just want to say that. Yeah, just like the chat is saying.
Have a seat, rat boy.
Thank you, Treason. Can we all just agree Stefan's gross and the LC is gross? Okay, but honestly, you're cool. Honestly, so I think I actually needed that laugh. Thank you. How is Remy handling all this holy shit? A lot of craziness in the men in the life. Okay, for real. Honestly, he's just.
I can answer.
Yeah, go for it, man. Yeah, sorry. I was
yeah, like I mean, it's okay. I've just been staying out of it, and you know, it's not my circus, not my monkey, but
yeah.
I'm here for support. I'm here to support Rosie, and that is what I feel my role is here. So
shut up, Remy. We don't care.
Yeah, Remy, he was very quiet because obviously it's not been about. I opened the live by saying he was here and that like he's just he's just here for emotional support. Hey, Freya.
I've been quiet, but
her emotional support feeder.
Yeah, LC Eagles moldy hot dog water content. Yeah.
her emotional support feeder. Her and Amberlynn have that in common.
I can hear Remy screaming. I'm not panicking in the back of his mind. Remy's a good boyfriend. He's always there for you, truly. Because what's your guys' couple's name? Because it'd be Romy or Remzi. Remzi's cutesy. Remzi is cutesy. Yeah, Remzi, R-E-M-S-I-U. Holly, hello. Richard's prayers are very much here for you. Thank you so much for being on for 15 months. Oh, Rumi. Remzi is adorable. Remzi's the vibe. If we're gonna have a ship name, Remzi's the vibe.
I like Ramsey. I like Ramsey.
Okay, I think at this point I do want to transition out of the seriousness. That's kind of how I do it when I adjust these things in lives. Is like I adjust it up top. You're right. I don't want to stay in it. I don't want to harp on it. I don't want to continue the mistake of centering myself on that end. So there's one thing I do want to.
It's too late for that. You already made this about you again. You already made this about you again.
So there's one thing I saw.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sam, and if you're here and this is the first time you are seeing my face, welcome. I make weekly or you like today's video. I hope that you'll consider liking and subscribing. For the first time ever, I feel like I have to admit that I am how to start video. Like there's no cute or quirky way to talk about the things we're going to be. A video that I just did 2 weeks ago where I was talking about the unfortunate passing of a 29 was open. It led me to one of the darkest recesses of the internet that I have ever found myself on, admittedly. Even sitting down to film, I'm not fully convinced that I want to walk through that door. I am more so feeling pulled through the door because there are things that have happened that I uncovered while I was researching Cass, and I feel like there are things that need to be talked about, specifically around the communities that we talk about on the channel. Using more protective language than I normally do throughout the video, and everything that I'm discussing is my subjective opinion based on very public allegations using material produced for the public and also public court documents, all of which are covered by fair use and the First Amendment. I am also going to pause here for a second to let you all know, content warning, this video is going to continue his behavior. Her name is Rita, and Rita is intriguing because she's been around for a very long time. She calls Stefan her chosen family, refers to him as her brother, and she is the one we see most often defending his behavior, going as far as to say that her friend is not capable of SA. But here's why I want to draw attention to Rita.
Rita, if there's anybody that can speak for like the vibes and the place and the party, it's Rita. Rita is in here. She said she's brought hundreds of people here.
Hi, Rita. That's right. She has helped by serving as the face of the Pearadise community, bringing in hundreds of women by Stefan's own account. And maybe it's true. Maybe they do have a very different relationship, because it appears like Rita is similar in age to Stefan, where the rest of the women in this situation tend to be much, much younger. And that's not unusual for Stefan. He has been caught speaking with minors on his platforms. He fully admitted to speaking with a 16-year-old via direct message about her choice to wear a bikini.
I've had a 16-year-old hit me up on TikTok and literally tell me that my content was the reason that she put on a bikini and made a TikTok swimming in a lake.
There are also public screenshots of a Discord comment where a 17-year-old was expressing that maybe she was dumb for being into older men or talking to them when they started talking to her. And Stefan responded and told her that she shouldn't worry about that because they're seeing the maturity in her. Additional screenshots have also come out where a 17-year-old was asking how to get into their Discord. And you can see in these messages Stefan talking about her hips, calling her cute, and asking her how big and tall she is. And once again, on TikTok Live, he admitted to this conversation.
I might have called a 17-year-old cute, but that was in order to hype her up.
And just to be clear, when all of this was happening, Stefan was in his late 40s. Now, I'm going to back up for 1 second here to talk more about the women in Pearadise and in Stefan's house being pitted against one another, because there's just so much evidence of this happening, even by Stefan's own account. First, he tells the story of a woman who lived in the house, and he was told to avoid her by the other women because she was stinky and potentially had diseases.
Ever.
And now they're all best friends. And you know what the funniest thing is? The funniest thing ever? Ali told me on a recorded phone call how Porky treated her, and now Ali and Porky are this close.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I could publish that recording where Ali is slandering Porky and saying like Porky was a pig. She smoked everywhere. She used she used all the groceries in the house. Didn't contribute. Like made the house a mess.
And he says all of this before bragging that one of the other women is the person who kicked this woman out.
The funny thing is that Ali is now going around on that live stream, on Piggy's live stream. She was saying that she disappeared, that she chose to leave.
I know.
Erica kicked her out and said like, if you come back to this house, it is on site. Like literally another girl, not me, another girl said, if you come back here while I'm here, it's going to be a fight.
He also shared a really disturbing story where a woman who was staying in the house had had a few drinks and they were together in the hot tub. And she began flirting with him. And he needed to know if this flirting was real. And also, I think he was trying to cover his ass with the security cameras. So he had another woman help him get consent.
Like, I have somebody that sat with me next to me in the hot tub, and Porky was coming on to me. Porky was starting to flirt with me and saying like, do you want to do blah, 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 blah. And my friend was like, Porky, you had alcohol like 5 hours ago, whatever. Like it was a long time before. It's because she was drunk in the afternoon, but in the evening she was fine. She was not drunk. In the court document, she's claiming she was drunk. She was sober. It's because both of us made 3 times we made sure that she is okay. We said like, hey, are you okay? Can you make decisions? How are you feeling? When was the last time you had a drink? What do you want to do? Are you sure about that? And then my friend said, ask for it. What do you want Stefan to do? Ask for it. Say it. Say it in words. So she made her say out loud, take my swim trunks off, or my bottoms, And she made her say, you can touch me. You can do this, and that.
Yeah. And finally, he admits that he was once upon a time flirting too much with one woman in a group chat with multiple women. And those other women went behind his back, created their own texting group, and they decided that they were going to call this other woman out for texting and flirting with Stefan too much. He sells Pearadise as this safe, welcoming community, but as we've seen throughout, I mean, it is anything but that. Throughout this defamation case, Stefan was online trying to defend himself, but also asking other people to step in and defend him, most of which you've already seen. But he was also trying to protect this persona of a genuine, loving, caring person. And what I haven't mentioned up to this point is within that persona, he added in being a good father. And this was an interesting choice to me because at this point, he decided to bring his own children into the mix by including them in live streams and talking about them and making Instagram posts about how good of a father he was, while also talking about his love for who he calls his baby mama. Her name is Cece, so I'm going to call her that, but he solely refers to her as baby mama. But I found that at the same time all of these allegations were coming out, and as Stefan and Cece were making video after video about their love for one another and their amazing family and their amazing children, she was suing him for child support. You cannot make these things up. It's literally a public court case document that exists alongside the defamation documents. It's impossible to miss it. Stefan ultimately lost his